Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nick Chubb, running back for the Cleveland Browns. Abercrombie's NFL partnership kicked off last year, and if you haven't shopped there recently, I'll tell you exactly where to start. First, Abercrombie's denim quality is unmatched. I'm a fan of their loose jean, and it fits me just the way I want it to. Make sure to hit up Abercrombie's Essential Collections for tees and their best-selling popover hoodie. I love rocking out on game day, or really any day. Shop Abercrombie to see what everyone's talking about.
Thursday Night Football is back.
Touchdown.
And it's on Prime Video.
Such a game changer.
It all kicks off this Thursday with the Buffalo Bills taking on the Miami Dolphins in an AFC East showdown with football's best party, TNF tonight. Not a Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial today. It's the Bills and the Dolphins. Thursday, only on Prime Video. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
It's time to get inside the Giants Huddle.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
On Giants.com.
I like it.
And the Giants mobile app.
Boom, give me some juice.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's roll.
It's time for the Giants' rapid reaction. They lose the opening season game 28-6 to the Minnesota Vikings here at MetLife Stadium on the celebration of the Giants' 100th season of pro football. Paul Dottino and Jonathan Casillas with you. And, Jonathan, the disappointing part for the Giants, and we just have to get it right out of the way from the beginning, is that everything seemed to be dysfunctional all the way around. The defense didn't do what they had to do. The offense didn't do anything that they had to do. They even had a muff on special teams. This was just one of those days where nothing seemed to go right.
Yeah, and I hate that that's kind of like a common scenario here at MetLife. You know, MetLife, it was electric today. Beautiful weather. The fans were in the stadium, in the parking lot really early. The stadium was packed. They were loud. They were in it. At the end of the game, how many fans were here? 10,000? Maybe 10,000? You know, and everybody was still enjoying the festivities because there were so many, different legends that were in town, for the celebration. But, it sucks that, we're here after, such a marvelous morning, a marvelous weekend, and just the performance of, the reason why everybody's here is for this football team, and they like you said, it just wasn't, they didn't seem like they just were not, I want to say ready to play, but they didn't execute on any side of the ball. They started out hot on defense, getting a sack by Dexter Lawrence, forced fumble by Drew Phillips, with the fumble recovery by Okereke, but they only turned that into 3 points. The PI, the next drive, and then it was all kind of downhill from there, and they couldn't figure out a way to slow it down.
And I think that's the really disappointing part, is because when the water started busting through the dam, there was no play, no series that stopped it. The momentum just kept going with the Minnesota Vikings, and it didn't seem like, no matter what some of the young guys did, Darius Muasau, the rookie linebacker, had an interception. Mm-hmm. We saw Phillips punch the ball out and get a forced fumble earlier. And we saw Tyler Nubin make a couple of great plays. You were almost jumping out of your seat in the press box at the way he was reading and hitting. So that stuff was all terrific. But in spite of that, there weren't enough of plays from the veterans, guys who needed to make plays to try to stem the tide and plug the dam and get things going in the other direction.
Absolutely. You need your young rookies. You need the young guys, the inexperienced guys. You need them to play well. Try to limit their mistakes as much as possible. And you need your playmakers to shine. That's what the NFL is. The NFL is consistent of a whole bunch of guys that are veterans in the league and a whole bunch of young guys, right? And that's the combination of football that you got to have. And it just wasn't there today. I've seen a lot of young guys show up, like you said. You got Muasau, you got Tyler Nubin. You had other guys performing, I feel like, this is a big level right here. They never been in the stadium like this before, and they played very well. But the guys like, and I got to say, Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones is going to his 6th year. I don't expect him not to bounce back, but he needs to bounce back. And this is a very capable week for him to do that. This is a team that he's had a lot of success against. We're talking about the Commanders in the past. And I think there's some confidence going in, to this game that he maybe don't have going into other opponents like Dallas and Philadelphia. I think, but the most disappointing thing is that this Vikings team is a team that was in, and I'm going to use you guys' terminology, in our weight class, in the Giants weight class, and it was lopsided still. That is the most disappointing and disheartening thing for me.
You're ready for a change. Payday comes early with Citizens, so go to that retreat. New you moves to the country. Now you're raising goats and launching a lifestyle brand. Are you ready for all that life brings?
Without question. Now, the Giants starters played 2 quarters in the first half against Houston, and that's the only time they had played together as a unit, even though they had some banged-up guys, but as most of a unit during the entire preseason. I thought it really showed today because they were so disjointed in so many ways. The pass rush and the pocket wasn't like it's supposed to be designed. The receivers and the timing with them and Daniel Jones wasn't right. The running game never truly got going. It wasn't like those holes were there and Singletary was able to rip through some open spaces. It just seemed like everything was out of sync. And I don't know if playing more in the preseason would change that or not, but I know this, they didn't play much.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, and it's only going to regress. It's only going to get less, right? They're possibly going to 2 preseason games and going to 18 regular season games. So I don't know how they're going to fix it when they're going in the opposite direction, as time moves on. But listen, when I played, it was 4 preseason games. Starters played possibly in the first game, definitely a little bit in the second game, and they played 3 quarters of that 3rd preseason game. And by the 4th game, everybody done got at least a full game in of playing time. And now you're trying to figure out who the last guys on your roster are. And they're out there playing 60, 70 plays, special teams. They're out there doing everything. Now, that's the only game that still exists. That 4th, which is the 3rd, that 4th preseason game. That's the only one that's actually still there. Because starters barely are playing during the preseason. I just don't know how you get to a game like this, the number 1 sport in America. It's not an easy game to know to follow. It's not an easy game to play. These are the best players in the world inside this league. And it's a sloppy product all around. You look at Thursday's game, you look at Friday's game, it was a lot of sloppy play by very good players. Lamar Jackson had 400 total yards, missed how many wide open throws late in that game. And this is Lamar Jackson, MVP from last year. I don't know how to reconcile that. I don't know how to fix that. The product of the NFL, it still makes for exciting games, though, Paul. That's the thing. Like, we could talk about Lamar Jackson all we want. If he looked how he looked, he still had 400 yards, and he was going against Mahomes, and he came down to the last inch. But there were some plays in that game with 3 games of experience, or at least 2 full games of experience, he was going to make those throws. And I'm using Lamar Jackson for an example because he was the MVP of this league twice. Right. And I watched him play some sloppy football not too long ago.
All right, one guy who did do some good things, again, it's another rookie. It's on the other side of the ball, Malik Neighbors, 5 catches for 66 yards, had 1 nice athletic grab, I might add, on a stab, 7 targets, had 1 drop that he beat himself up on in the locker room after the game. But I thought, out of the box, it was an okay, solid performance from him. You'd certainly like it to be more spectacular, but step 1, I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, we all understand the hype around this kid. The history of the LSU wide receivers coming in ready. He's just wanted to cut from that cloth. The guy looks the part. His post-game interview was like, okay, this guy is actually a mature, young 21-year-old kid. I mean, he's a grown man, but he's a kid when it comes to these grown men in this league that's been in the league 10, 12 years. And the potential is there for him. And look, I'm so excited about what these rookies show today and what they have for the future. But I also look on the other side of it. There's a lot of guys that I know have made a lot of plays in this league, and they didn't really show up today. I'm not going to say the names. You can look at the stat sheet. And there's a lot of zeros in a lot of people's names that played, and I'm talking about defensively, and that played a significant amount of time today. Those guys have to show up week in and week out, especially in a game like this where your offense is struggling. And I'm going to talk defense because I've been on the side where defense had to carry a team. I've been on the side where the offense kept turning the ball over. Right? There's a different attitude you have to take when you have a struggling offense. You have to put the team on your back. They did it the first 2 drives. but that was it. After that, they had some stops here and there, but where's that game-changing play? Where's that big hit? Where's that we're taking the field to get the ball back to our offense? I didn't see that. I didn't see that between plays, and for me, that's a little bit concerning because that goes beyond the X's and O's.
You love turf. You're good at it. So you start a turf biz. Business grows, your savings grow. Become the most celebrated name in turf. Are you ready for all that life brings?
The only guy who you can honestly say played to the back of his football card was Dexter Lawrence.
Absolutely.
The best player on the field for the Giants is usually their best player every week.
Yep.
And he wound up with only 3 tackles, but he was very effective. He had a sack, he had a tackle for a loss, he had a quarterback hit, he had a pass defense, and he had 8 quarterback pressures. And I believe John said to me the initial pass rate was 33% pass pressure.
And he caused at least 2 penalties, maybe 3.
He did. So that's one guy who you can count on every week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dexter Lawrence, and I said this, one of my predictions for the season was the Giants need Dexter Lawrence to not play like one of the best players in the league. He needs to play like he's the best player in the league because I think he just might be, Paul. He might be the best defensive player in the league. Aaron Donald's not in the league anymore. He had his walk, got his Super Bowl and retired. Dexter Lawrence, and mind you, he's not a 3 technique. A lot of these pass rushers that are defensive tackles, that are not outside edge rushers, that
they're
are
penetrators.
Linemen, they're 3 technique. They're over the guard. He lines up at that nose or that shade, whatever, the 1 technique, whatever position you want to call it. He's right over the ball. There's nobody like him in the league that can do what he does. And the Giants need a heavy dose of him for the entire season if the Giants want to have a chance to compete in this division.
All right, a couple numbers that I know have to be changed around against Washington next week. 9 penalties charged to the Giants today. They also gave up 5 sacks. We know about the 2 interceptions, including the 1 pick six. Got to clean that up, or you're not going to win.
You got to throw in there the 2 failed 4th down conversions. That's almost basically 4 turnovers right there. Yeah,
and hard to even compete when those numbers are going against you like that. One other guy I want to mention who I thought, did some yeoman's work, Wan'Dale Robinson, 12 targets. A lot of them were not very close balls. They were inaccurate throws. But on throws when he had a chance to make a play, and he fought for 1 first down late when the game seemed to be getting out of hand, but he still fought for the first down, wound up 6 receptions for 44 yards. And I only would love to see if this offense was clicking because he showed me today he can do some things.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, and that's why I'm saying the potential is there. Motor Singletary has some really good runs, and I told you, it was like a 3-yard run. I said, I like the way he runs.
Yeah.
He runs patient. He's not running to the back of guys. He finds little holes, and he falls forward. The Giants have potential. They just, like you said, they have to start clicking, and it all starts with Dane Jones.
Yeah, and it starts next week against the division rival Washington Commanders, and they better get it right next week because we know those division games are doubly important.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. Hopefully these guys can correct it, have a good week of practice, and put together a better performance on the road next week.
All right, that is Jonathan Casillas. I'm Paul Dottino. Again, opening day, the Minnesota Vikings beat the New York Giants 28-6. This has been your Giants Rapid Reaction here as part of the Giants Huddle and Giants Podcast Network. We'll talk to you next time.
Zyn nicotine pouches deliver nicotine satisfaction anywhere, anytime, which means Zyn pairs well with you, your personality, your schedule, and your spontaneity. Zyn fits easily into your bag, pocket, and into your life because it's smoke-free, hands-free, and hassle-free. So the only person who will know you have a Zyn pouch in is you. Visit Zyn.com or head to your local convenience store today to find your Zyn. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Odoo is business management made so simple, a kid could explain it.
Sometimes business software can't talk to other programs. But Odoo, funny word, has every program from CRM to HR to accounting in one platform. It should cost a lot, but it doesn't. So you should use Odoo because they save you money.
Odoo makes a lot of sense, but doesn't cost a lot of sense. Sign up now at odoo.com.
That's ODOO.com.
Good job.
Thanks.